What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm here to talk about a very controversial topic. And this one has a lot of strong opinions throughout the many wargamers from all the years that I've seen people bring this topic up. It is none other than female space marines. So as I was trying to get this topic out, I just ran into a lot of hate, honestly. Like, people are really heated up when it comes to this, and I can understand, because when it comes to female space marines, it's stated quite obviously that that cannot happen. For the main reason is that the gene seed implantation process only works on prepubescent boys, so men. And since that is stated in the lore, we gotta remember that the lore is one of the main reasons why people come, stay, and love Warhammer 40K. Lore is what enriches this awesome IP, makes it crazy, makes it awesome. And honestly, like, the lore is what fuels the passion for the novels, the video games, the tabletop. Anything you can think of, honestly, is really pushed by the awesome lore, the history, the stories that embodies Warhammer 40K. And because of that, many people are so polarized to just say, no, it's not in the lore, I hate it, do not make it a thing. Now, I understand that, and there are a lot of good things and bad things that come out of this love for Warhammer 40K. This passion is what brings out these intense emotions, because honestly, when I was making the community tab poll, really the question, a lot of you guys were super like concerned about, oh, if they bring in female space marines, that's going to be the end of Warhammer 40K. I don't want this to happen to my hobby, because that stems from love of a game, and essentially you kind of attach it to yourself. So it's like, if they're attacking this aspect of 40K, it's kind of like an attack on yourself, which, I don't know, man. Like, it's just a game, I get it, but at the same time, if you invest all this time and money, because honestly, Warhammer 40K is a hobby that is not cheap. It is not cheap at all. You're investing a lot of time, effort, money to play this game, and if there are certain aspects that ruin it for you, of course you're going to be upset. And it got to the point where I just asked the question, what are your hot takes on female space marines? And honestly, we got people that said, oh, I'm unsubscribing. Why are you even talking about this? This should not happen. So, yeah, I get it. Like, this topic hits people's buttons so hard that just by even asking a question, I didn't even give my stance on it. People were already, I'm unsubscribing. I hate this. So, yeah, rage-inducing topic for sure. So, I had this structured in a way, and then after recording it, I didn't like the way it turned out. So this is going to become more of a discussion type video, where I really want to bounce ideas off of you guys, read your comments, and then go from there. Because at first, I was just giving, like, why female space marines can exist, and then why they can't, and I was just kind of giving examples of that. So I will talk about that in this video. But at the same time, I want it to just be more organic, to flow better, so you guys can kind of fully understand the points that I bring about, and then kind of bounce off of that in the comments below, and we could keep the conversation going. So, disclaimer, be nice to each other. Like I said, this really stirs up people in a good and a bad way. So just, you know, we're all people that love the game of Warhammer 40K. We're all here to enjoy it in one way or another. So just kind of be respectful of that. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to do that, as I've seen in the comments section below. But I mean, just try. That's all I can ask. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into this video for what would be my third time recording it. So when it comes to female space marines, I think that, like I was talking about earlier, normally, based on the lore, this cannot happen. It won't work because of the Emperor's way of creating space marines, and I guess which stems from the creation of the Primarchs via the gene seed. Gene seed would only work on prepubescent children to allow their bodies to adapt to become super soldiers, essentially. And this would only work with the chromosomes found in males. I believe there were times when they tried it on women, and that did not end up creating a space marine of that standard. I believe some did survive the process, but for the most part, everybody did perish. And those that did survive weren't up to par, be it through some mutation or just not the gene seed not really adhering well to the body. Now, just because that's in the lore, and because we haven't seen any female Space Marine chapters, does not entirely mean that this could not be a thing. We thought Space Marines were the pinnacle of the Emperor's creation, and look at what Belisarius did. Improved on that design and created the new Primaris Marines. Love it or hate it, that's what happened, and that is why Belisarius' call can be deemed as heretical, changing and improving on what essentially is God's work, the Emperor's work. So that is heretical right then in and of itself. So who's to say that Belisarius' call or any other evil genius such as Fabius Bile could not take women, implant them with some type of chaos inbounded gene seed or whatever, and create female Chaos Space Marines, or vice versa. Call could create female Space Marines. Another instance of this happening that does fit in with the lore would be the Lost Primarchs. The 2nd and the 11th have been erased from history. The Emperor's Edict of Obliteration basically reduced all symbols, likeliness, any memories of these two warriors and their legions from existence. Now, based on the information we have here, we can infer that most likely one of the two Primarchs was indeed a male. And we could kind of piece that together because when, I believe it was the 11th Primarch, was either scoured from the galaxy, imprisoned, killed, etc., the legions of the Ultramarines grew by a vast amount. So you could say that those legionaries, those Space Marines from the 11th Legion's Primarch, were indeed male and were then inducted into the Ultramarines. So we don't see any female Space Marines in the Ultramarines. I guess it's safe to say that those that did not betray the Imperium were indeed male Space Marines. But again, that leaves the question of the 2nd. What happened to that Primarch and those Space Marines? How this doesn't fit is that the Emperor essentially created the Primarchs in his image, the Emperor being the true man or whatnot. So that's more lore kind of leading to that female Space Marines were not a thing, at least during the creation of the Primarchs and their subsequent legions throughout, like, up until the Horus Heresy. But as we know, there is a chaos god that is both male and female at the same time, and that is Slaanesh. So it is possible that moving forward, when Slaanesh does get a huge update to their legion, their models, etc., we could see some female Space Marines for Chaos. Because throughout the years, we've never gotten a supplement for Slaanesh. We've gotten Khorne supplements, Nurgle supplements, Zeech supplements, but never anything focusing on the Chaos God of perfection and excess, Slaanesh. So if that does happen in one way, shape, or form, it could be through Slaanesh, and it could be a Chaos-specific only, I guess, army. Now, in that same basis, kind of moving a few steps back, when it comes to the 2nd and the 11th Lost Legions, they're basically there for people to just go wild with their imaginations and create a Space Marine army that isn't already established. Say you want to use Space Marines that live underwater, boom, that is your avenue to make the lore work for you and create something that actually makes sense and could fit in the 40K universe. Because I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to creating your own lore, be it a successor chapter, a Primarch, etc., I like it when it makes the most sense in the lore of 40K. Because when you start creating something that's a little too like overpowered or whatever, like my Primarch can slay all of Chaos Gods. He has taken a Chaos God and imbued it into his sword. It's like, no, that's not a thing. Like that never happened because obviously the Chaos Gods are still out there. So your OCs, I guess you can say, when it comes to Space Marines and whatnot, it makes more sense. It's more credible when it fits into the lore of 40K. But again, there's so much mystery behind the 2nd and the 11th Primarchs that you could use this as a means to create a female Primarch, female Space Marines. Maybe that is why they were obliterated from history, because something happened with the gene seed that almost made them mutate or something, or made them less likely to follow the orders of the Emperor or something along those lines. So that could be a thing. Will we ever see what happened to the 11th and the 2nd? Will we ever see faces behind the Primarchs, etc.? I don't know. At first I thought that would never be a thing, but as the years go on, we've seen more and more hints as to what could have been. In the novels, Horus talks about them. We've known that the Sigillite, Malkador, has actually erased the memories of like Dorn, etc., of these two Primarchs. We've seen statues of these two Primarchs that have been broken down. So there are hints, there are things alluding that these two Primarchs did in fact exist, did fight alongside other Primarchs, and were a part of the Imperium at one point in time. So lots of lore there to explore, but we'll see if that ever does involve female Space Marines. Another thing too, as to why female Space Marines could come back or could come out in 40K, is because essentially that's what happened in Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar, you have the Sigmarines, aka the Stormcast Eternals, which are essentially Space Marines for that setting. And these warriors, there is a different lore to them. They aren't essentially created via gene seed implantations and stuff like that. They are basically warriors picked off from the battlefields and infused with Sigmar's magic, to put it simply. These warriors aren't necessarily all men. There are women in there, and you do see like women donned in the armor of these Stormcast Eternals. And honestly, it's not very difficult to do. Basically, all you need is a head swap, and that's it. And that's only if you're playing them unhelmeted. So if we do ever get female Space Marines to become a thing in 40K, and they start producing models for them, just use a freaking Space Marine that's already established, switch out the head, and you're done. The thing that a lot of people feel, well, I think that a lot of people think female Space Marines mean they're going to be all sexualized, and they're not going to have like armor on their chests, and they're basically going to be showing cleavage and boobs and stuff like that. It's like, no, that's not going to happen, dude. It's like, this is Warhammer 40K. Why would you show your midriff and have your boobs out in the freaking battlefield and war? Like, they're going to be covered up in the exact same armor as Space Marines. You'll never see a difference unless they take off their head. And even at that, just wear them all helmeted. And boom, your army that you currently are playing could be all female Space Marines. You just don't know because they all have their helmet on. The armor's pretty much the exact same thing. So that's it. Like, the other thing too is I feel like, oh, if people have female Space Marines, then they're just going to paint all their armor pink and it's going to be all hearts and roses and stuff like that. Nah, dude, like, think about it. This is the grim, dark universe of Warhammer 40K where there is only war. We've seen gag armies such as like the Rainbow Warriors and the Angry Marines and stuff like that, and that's exactly what they are. Gag armies. Do you ever see 40K ever make any of that stuff official? No, because they have an established universe and they have to create things that fit in said universe. So that's not to say that things will never change, as we've seen with the Squats. The Squats were brought in. They were kind of a silly race, honestly, and then they were kind of ignored for a long time, and now they're coming back. But obviously you don't see them look as silly as they did back in those editions from way back when. No, they're revamped, repurposed to fit into the current style look of Warhammer 40K. So female Space Marines would look just like that, to fit the style, the aesthetic of the grimdark aspect of 40K. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is only happening because 40K is getting more mainstream. More people are getting into 40K. And essentially, 40K is, quote unquote, getting Disney-fied, getting woke. And that brings in the whole inclusivity. And with that, it's like, yeah, if you're playing a game and you don't see yourself being represented in the game, maybe you won't be as attached to it. But the thing is, we already have warrior women in Warhammer 40K. And a really good army at that. The Sisters of Battle. They are essentially female Space Marines minus the gene seed implantation. They revere the Emperor as a god. They fight with power armor, they fight with bolters, meltas, flamers, chainswords, weapons that are already seen and used by Space Marine. Their armor is aesthetically different, and I mean that's pretty much where the differences like stop. Like, yeah, they get they're more on the ecclesiarchical side, so they do have more of a religious aspect than most Space Marine chapters do. But think of it this way: you've got the Sisters of Battle, and you've got the Black Templars. Essentially two faces of the same coin, honestly. When you look at them based on their theme, the colors are pretty much spot on. So yeah, like that's it. Like Sisters of Battle. You want female Space Marines? Play Sisters of Battle. Yes, their toughness is a little lower, but they make up with different abilities, different types of hymns, miracle dice, etc. to keep them competitive. They just got a huge army revamp, so if you did want to play like, I don't know, like dreadnoughts and stuff like that, they do have units akin to that. And there you go. Like, women representation in 40K is there. They've even added Sisters of Battle to certain animations. I believe it was the 9th edition animation that started the edition where you had the Necrons fighting against Sisters of Battle, and then you had the Primaris Marines in there. Boom. That just goes to show you that, you know, they're not ignoring females in this game. They're being represented via Sisters of Battle. Sisters of Silence, that is another one that I've been preaching for a long time that really needs to get expanded upon. Such a lore-rich faction that gets little love. Honestly, they're kind of just lumped in with the Custodes, and they deserve their own codex and their own line of miniatures. For the most part, they don't have very many models to use. Basically it's the same model with different weapon swaps, and then they have some stuff over in Forge World, but easy way to bring them up to speed is just to create more models. Give them their own codex, give them named characters, because it's there. It's all there in the lore. They just gotta expand upon it. So boom, 2 playable armies that you could use for your representation of females in 40K. Not just that, but you also have the assassins that are also female. They've got like, they could twist and contort their bodies to mimic and copy other people. So they're there. Inquisitors are a thing too. Imperial Guardsmen, that could be another place too. Not just that, but you could step outside into the Xenos and look into other areas there. There's tons of fan art of like female Tau, Eldar. Pretty much all the Farseers and whatnot are depicted as women for the most part. So it's definitely there. You just have to look for it. And like when it comes to just focusing on Space Marines, yeah, they're the poster boys of 40K. And lore-wise, they are all men. But again, this whole lore and quote-unquote fact can be changed. We've seen it before. Like if you go way back into like 2nd edition, 3rd edition, a lot of the things that we took as fact have changed. There used to be hybrids of Eldar and Space Marines Not anymore. So just because something is there in the lore, can be taken out, it can be retconned, it can be included. Things change over time, so that's just something that we gotta think about moving forward. So I hit every aspect that I wanted to talk about, but now let's go ahead into your comments. All right, man, it's rough. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but for the most part, here's what people have to say. Doom guy. No female space marines. None. Never. Not even once. This one's by Matt's Take on the Ancients. Think it'd be hard to do as space marines are chock full of hormones like testosterone for muscle growth, and if given to a woman, they'd start looking very masculine. Really be no point. Besides, already have plenty of badass women. Give them lighter weight power armor and have them learn martial arts. Still kick ass and maintain feminine features. Think the sororitas do a good job of making badass women just as religious, crazy as space marines, which still look like women. But think of it this way. Just because you have women as space marines, they don't have to keep their feminine features. If they do go through the whole gene seed process and whatever not, yeah, they're going to get full of hormones and testosterone. They're going to build muscle mass. They're going to lose some of those feminine features because they need to be this, how do I put it, a form that we've seen for the Space Marines. I'm pretty sure I've shown it in the video. I might be showing it here now in the images, but basically they're all going to look the same. It's just male, female, but at the end of the day, there's not really much difference. But yeah, that's another thing that a lot of people said on here, that they're going to lose their feminine features or they got to keep their feminine features. It goes both ways. This one's by Arc Tracer. He says, it may just be me, but I'd want them to develop the Sisters of Silence more rather than adding women in Space Marines just because a couple people are mad that they aren't in it. Exactly. Flesh out the Sisters of Silence, give them more love because honestly they need it, and the Sisters of Battle already kind of fill that role. This one is by ARS273. There are no male or female Space Marines. There is only devotion to the Emperor. No, but what's that in your pants? Faith and spare bolter rounds. Honestly, exactly. That's kind of my point before. Like, be it male, be it female, when they're in power armor and they're helmeted, you can't tell the difference. Like, honestly. NCK226. It was my understanding, I believe from one of your previous videos, that it's not possible for female Space Marines as the gene seed is only compatible with males. So I'm curious as to the nature of this video. Yeah, basically the whole purpose of this video is that for the past few months, I've been writing lore for the missing Primarchs. Obviously, I've talked about the 11th Legion that I've created, the Celestial Sons and their Primarch Alec Elric. There's a whole playlist on that. But then I also wanted to go further and talk about the 2nd Legion and the 2nd Primarch. And for that one, I've decided to create a female Primarch. Gasp! So basically, this is just putting my thoughts down, because as I was like researching female Primarchs, can this be possible? I went into the whole discussion of female Space Marines. Can they exist? How? Why? And this is where I just wanted to kind of put out my thoughts and get feedback from the community, etc. So yes, I will be creating some videos on a fan lore on the 2nd Primarch, a female Primarch, how and what her legion is. Is it female Space Marines? Is it still male Space Marines? What happened to them? Why were they excommunicated from the Imperium? Were they traitors? Did they do something along those lines? So stay tuned, honestly. But yeah, going back to your comment, yes, you are right. Currently, at least based on the lore that we've taken for fact, yes, that cannot happen because the gene seed does not adhere to the female body. It only works on the male chromosomes, etc. So I will be taking that into account because, like I said, I feel like fan-created lore makes more sense in a setting if it adheres to the rules, quote-unquote laws of that universe. So I will be taking that into account, so stay tuned. You'll see more on that later. This one is by Dylan Andrew. Personally, I care a lot more about customization and really making an army your own. Lore comes second to that. There's 2 lost chapters for a reason. If you want them to be all female chapters or whatever, that's totally within reason. I know for a lot of people, lore comes first, and that's it. This one is by Fabio Ferreira. That would be a worse blasphemy than Age of Sigmar. Space Marines are men. Adepta Sororita are women. Let's keep it that way. It's been like that for more than 30 years. Exactly. That's been the case since the inception of 40K, but as we've seen, things change. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. Stagnation is a thing, and that's what the Imperium is currently in. Like, the Imperium progressed. They were at the height of it. They had machines doing things for them. The Golden Age of Humanity was a good time, and then Age of Strife happened, Age of Apostasy. Like, there's a lot of ages throughout the Imperium that we've seen that allowed them to prosper and also to regress. And as you've seen, in 30K, they're actually more technologically advanced than they are currently in the 41st millennia. And we've seen what stagnation can do. A lot of tech priests, a lot of worlds do not want to improve because that is what, quote unquote, they believe the Emperor deemed it to be. So there's no improvement, things are stagnating, and look at where they're at now, in a galaxy full of war. Last one is by Uncaged Chicken Reviews. The fact that there's even a debate about female Space Marines is kind of sad. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Just do them if you want, or don't. People seeing the lore as reason why we can't have female Space Marines seems silly to me. Like, the lore doesn't get retconned and contradicted all the time. Honestly, I wish GW would just cross out that, like, the one line about the gene seed being incompatible with women and add a single female Space Marine head to the Intercessor sprue so we can put this debate behind us. I mean, I don't think it'll ever be put behind us. Honestly, like I was talking about earlier, that's all it takes to add female Space Marines. One female head option. And that's only if you're playing them without helmets. If GW ever did this, you will not hear the end of it. If GW never did this, you will not hear the end of it. This is a topic that has been going on for a long, long time, and I feel like it will continue to be a topic forever, honestly. When it comes to representation, inclusiveness? Yeah, I don't think inclusivity is a word. When it comes to things like that, there are always going to be people on both sides of the fence. People that are going to be adamant about one thing, adamant about the other. There are going to be a lot of good takes, a lot of reason behind certain comments, ideas, and there's also going to be a lot of comments and ideas that just get thrown out there without any info backing it up. There's going to be a large minority that is very vocal, a small minority that is very vocal. Either way, I think we should just listen to everybody's thoughts, whether you agree or not, and then establish your own thoughts and belief based on that, and then just move forward. At the end of the day, nothing changes. Whether you want female Space Marines, whether you don't, whether we get them, whether we don't, nothing's going to change. If you wanted to play female Space Marines, you've probably already converted them. If you never want to play female Space Marines, just don't do it. No one's forcing you to buy female Space Marines. Say they do make a box set and they do come with like a few female Space Marines heads in that box set. You don't have to use them. Sell them on eBay. Like, honestly, whether they do or they don't, it won't really change anything when you think about it that way. If there is a named character that does come out that is a female, don't play her. Like, if that's your thoughts. Or like I said, there's really no reason that we need female Space Marines right now when they have awesome factions such as the Sisters of Battle and the Sisters of Silence that really do need a revamp. So that's where I'm going to end it, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. Keep it civil. Respect everybody's opinion. And hopefully we can go from there. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Again, please comment down below. I really want to see your thoughts and your opinions after what I've had to say here. And we'll go from there, guys. Don't forget that if you do like what we do here at One Mind Syndicate, you can help us by subscribing. That really helps. Share the video with your friends. Let them know what their opinions are, etc. And if you guys want to go that extra mile, we do have a Patreon page where a simple $1 pledged a month really helps us to put out videos each and every day. Be really appreciated. But if not, you can just support us for free by liking the video. This has been The Sound Alchemist. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.